Hi, it's mystery author Ellie Alexander, and I am back with this week's pages of A Brunch with Death, our cozy mystery bake shop spin-off collaboration. I love where the story is going, and I cannot wait to read it in just a minute. But first, I wanted to let you know that I did a Facebook Live earlier this week. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, be sure to go do so because you have a bonus assignment this week that I'll talk about at the end. But without further ado, let's get straight to part 6 of A Brunch with Death. Juliet tried to revive Peter while I dialed the professor's number. As Ashland's resident detective and Shakespeare aficionado, I knew he would be here within minutes with EMS in tow. I would have preferred to call my lawyer, or the press, first, but I did my civic duty informing the professor of Peter's demise. As expected, he arrived before the ambulance and quickly took charge of the scene. Juliet came to my side as the professor examined Peter's body. "He's dead, isn't he?" she asked with a quiver to her voice. I wrapped my arm around her shoulder. "It appears that way." We all waited in stunned silence for the paramedics to perform a variety of futile tasks. I had no sense of how much time had passed between them wheeling Peter's body away and the professor calling us to attention. He held Peter's drink glass with one gloved hand. "Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have to ask you to sit tight for a bit. I'll be taking each of your statements before I can allow you to go." "Why?" Tony wailed. "He did it! He killed Peter!" She thrust her fake nail in Brady's direction. "He brought out the champagne. He must have spiked it. You killed Peter!" Brady recoiled. "No," he shook his head. "I opened the bottle of champagne and poured it straight into the glasses." "He's lying!" Tony waved her arms frantically. "Arrest him! He killed Peter!" Juliet nudged me. Richard's smirk had vanished. He stared at Tony with a dazed look. "Why do you keep saying Peter? His name was Pierre." A brief flash of terror crossed Tony's face before she clutched Richard's hand. "What did I say? What did I call him? I'm so flustered. I can't think, dearest." "Ha!" I begged to differ. The professor removed a moleskin notebook from his tweed jacket and motioned for Brady to step away from the table. "Poor kid, he looks like I feel," Juliet commented, showing me her trembling hands. "He didn't do it. There's no way." I filled her in on what he'd told me earlier about Peter's lack of kitchen prowess. "Who sent him to get the champagne?" Juliet asked. A touch of color had returned to her cheeks. My ever-astute partner in crime was back. Most excellent. "Peter, right?" I searched my memory. "He and Brady had a word, and Brady went off to the kitchen. My money is on Tony." Juliet was thoughtful for a moment. She surveyed the table. The meatballs, cheese and crackers, and fruit were basically untouched. Dip had splattered everywhere. "Okay, Peter was sitting next to Tony, Richard was sitting next to her, you and I were seated across the table, and Brady hadn't sat down yet. He was right there," she pointed to the head of the table. "I think you're right. Tony had the best opportunity. She could have slipped something into Peter's glass when everyone stood up for the toast. But it doesn't look good for Brady. Are you sure he wasn't fed up with covering for the fake chef? Maybe he had enough." "Never!" I was aghast. "I've been around plenty of starlets in my day, and I am able to discern a fake. Brady is the real deal. He's like some sort of a throwback to the 1950s, earnest and sincere, yet with those baby blues and wavy dark locks that make you go weak in the knees. Trust me, darling, he's not our killer." "So, Tony?" Juliet asked. "What do you know about her?" "Only everything I've already shared, but I will say that I don't believe a word that comes out of her garish mouth. She's acting, albeit atrociously, but she's not telling the truth. That's obvious in her choice of Richard Lord as a future husband." Juliet managed to chuckle. "I can't argue with that, but poor taste in men doesn't make her a killer." "Or does it?" I raised my brow. Listen, I have an idea before the professor comes to take our statements. Let's divide and conquer. I'll see what I can twist out of Tony. After all, I am her artistic director. Ugh, I tried not to gag at the thought. You can take Brady under your wing, invite him to Tort, give him some basic lessons. I can tell that he'll be a quick study with you as his pastry muse. Juliet rolled her eyes. Flattery is going to get you nowhere. Pretty please, I folded my hands together. With Peter dead, we can't let him flounder. He told me that he needs the extra income. Imagine having Richard Lord as your boss. That got her. She sighed. No thanks. That's my worst nightmare. My point exactly. Cut the kid some slack. Surely you can teach him a couple of simple recipes. And while you work your magic with butter, you can butter him up for some details. What do you say? Juliet hesitated. Before I could nail her down for an answer, Brady returned with the professor, who took Tony for questioning next. Brady, have you met my dear friend Juliet Capshaw? She owns Tort, and she and I were just chatting about having you pop over to the bake shop to learn a few Tort secret recipes. Are you interested? I didn't dare catch Juliet's eye. I could feel her shooting daggers my way. Oh, yeah, that would be great. Thanks. I don't know what's going to happen now that Peter is dead, but I guess I'm going to be in charge of the kitchen in the short term. I have no idea what I'm doing. Juliet smiled. I'd be happy to help. Why don't you stop by tomorrow morning? Yeah, okay. Brady's gaze was focused at the professor. I seized the opportunity. What happened? What did the professor ask you? He asked me a bunch of questions about Peter and the rest of the staff. I didn't kill him. You have to believe me. We do. Of course we do. It's unfortunate that you happened to pour the champagne. I'm sure this is a case of simply being in the wrong place at the wrong time. I don't get it. I opened the bottle, Hank handed me the tray of glasses, and I came out here to pour for everyone. Hank, this was an interesting development. Are you referring to Hank, the front desk clerk? I asked. Was he in the kitchen? Yeah, the professor asked me that too, like 3 times. He made me go over exactly what happened. Peter told me there was going to be a big announcement that he didn't want to miss, and could I go get the champagne? It was chilling in the fridge. I got it. I opened the bottle, and the next thing I knew, Hank was standing there with a tray of glasses. He gave them to me. I came back and poured the champagne, and then Peter collapsed. Don't worry. The professor is on the case. He'll get to the bottom of this, I assured my young actor. That was true. But suddenly, Juliet and I had a new suspect, Hank. What was Hank doing in the kitchen? Dun, dun, dun. What was Hank doing in the kitchen? What was he doing? I don't know. You're going to tell me. Okay, so your task for part 6 of A Brunch with Death is twofold again. First, I want you to think about Brady. Is Lance right in his assessment? Is Brady innocent, or is Brady still hiding something? And if so, what is he hiding? Okay, so that's question number 1. Is Brady innocent, and what else could he be hiding? Okay, because we are going to continually shift suspicion to each of our suspects for the next few parts until we reach the height of the tension where Lance and the killer come face to face. So Brady's part 1, is he innocent, and what else is he hiding? And then question number 2 is about Hank. What was Hank doing in the kitchen? I cannot wait to see what you come up with, because thus far, this has just been such an amazing collaboration. I love all of your creative energy and how this story is coming together, even though none of us know what's gonna happen next. Also, like I said at the beginning, you have a bonus task this week, which is, because this is a BAKESHOP mystery spinoff, we cannot have a BAKESHOP mystery without recipes. I'm asking you to share a recipe idea for a sweet and a savory brunch item. Through the end of the weekend, I want you to share the idea for the recipe and just like a beautiful description, maybe 1 short sentence. Don't share the actual recipe yet, because we're gonna vote on those next week as well. And then the winning sweet and the winning savory recipe are gonna end up in the final version of A Brunch with Death. Phew, that's a lot of tasks. That's 3 things for you to think about: Brady, Hank, and recipes. Yay. I hope you enjoyed this part 6. I know that I am loving where this is going, and I can't wait to see what's gonna happen with Hank and why in the world he's lurking around in the kitchen when he should be up at the front desk. Have a great weekend and happy plotting.